Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Anton, and welcome to today's video for Legends of Runeterra. Spoiler season is still going on. Um, we got more cards. Glory and Navori will be here soon, and more cards have been spoiled today. Now, no new mechanics, like no new keywords, no new champion. So, in all honesty, probably going to be a shorter video because these cards, while some of them look pretty cool, nothing too novel or complex that we have to really digest and analyze. Not to say these are bad cards, of course. One of these cards I think is really, really good, in fact. A couple of them I actually think are really good. So, enough rambling. Let's actually just look at the cards right away. All right, so to start off, what do we have? Well, first off, we got Flash Bomb Peddler. Flash Bomb Peddler, PNZ card, 2 mana, 1/3. Okay, not a great stat line, but solid. When you play a spell, plant 1 Flash Bomb trap randomly in the top 8 cards of the enemy deck. So, obviously, this is very analogous to Puffcat Peddler, if you couldn't tell just by the name and the effect. The Puffcat Peddler is even in the guy's full art, and his flavor text is even referencing Puffcaps. Is this card actually good, though? I don't think this card is good. I don't think this card is unplayable, though, but I've seen a lot of people really overhyping this guy for control decks. I think this is a solid card for Teemo Caitlyn, Puffcaps alongside Flash Bomb decks, You get both of the Peddlers, the Flash Bomb Peddler and the Puffcat Peddler. One spell goes a long way. Here's my problem with Flash Bomb Peddler and Flash Bombs in general. They are very random. I feel like if any of you have played Caitlyn before and you've really just relied on a good Flash Bomb, most of the time you're going to be disappointed. You have to first off have your opponent draw the Flash Bomb, and on top of that, you need your Flash Bomb to hit the right unit if, of course, your opponent has more than one unit. So that's why I'm not a big fan of this guy. The 1/3 stat line's not even great. If he was like a 2/3, like a 2-mana 2/3, just solid stat line for a 2-drop, I'd be a little more interested. He trades decently, even like a 3/2, because 3/2 could at least block Fearsomes and trade well as well, but 1/3 is not really trading well. Yeah, he blocks well against aggro, like he blocks 2/1s, which is nice. But yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like for control decks, at least, you're taking a big tempo hit, which, control is generally going to be behind in tempo in the early to mid game. But you're trying to use Flash Bombs to catch back up in tempo. Now, here's the thing. Like all cards here, it's hard to evaluate because of rotation it's going to be coming up too. If the meta slows down, maybe we can use this. If the removal is worse as well, like the removal is much lower power, so this guy just sticks on the board easier, sure. Right now in the game, I would not play this guy. Only in Caitlyn Teemo decks I would consider this guy at all. But in some kind of like PNZ control deck, I wouldn't play him. Way too slow. Flash Bombs are way too RNG for control decks to rely on. So pretty much just keep this guy in your Puffcap Caitlyn Teemo deck. But who knows? With more synergy, perhaps, and with how meta shakes up, maybe. The reason I really like this in Teemo Caitlyn as well is they don't really have a good 2-drop. There's like the dog, the 2-mana 2/2 dog that I think it shuffles in Puffcaps, and I think he's like a 2/1 elusive, the 2-mana 2/1 elusive that when he Nexus strikes, he shuffles in 2 Flash Bombs? Something like that. Neither of which are great, so that's why I think this guy's solid for Teemo Caitlyn, but outside of that, especially for control, you have better things. Next up. All right, this card, I think, is one of the best cards we've seen so far. Augmented Clockling. 4 mana 2/2 elusive. Terrible stat line. 2/2 is the stats of a 1-drop. Elusive is a good keyword. but we're going to need to do a lot to make up that 3 extra mana we're paying. So what's the card actually do? Well, when you play the card, it predicts. Okay, we're getting somewhere. And then you draw a card. So you're going to draw the cards you predicted. All right. So already 4 mana 2/2 that draws a card. That's pretty solid. And it has elusive. So we can already make ties to things like Shadow Assassin and Zap. And then on top of all of that, it reduces the cost of the card by 1. So like I was saying earlier, Zap Spray Fin. Zap is one of the best cards in Bilgewater. You don't see her too much anymore because, in all honesty, Bilgewater is not doing that hot. Especially Bilgewater decks that would play Zap. Also, she is kind of slow. So, yeah, like, Bilgewater is kind of just being held together by, like, hopes, dreams, and Twisted Fate at the moment, and a little bit of misfortune. That cost reduction is actually pretty sweet. It pretty much makes up for the lack of a tune that that Zap has, so that's nice. But yeah, exact same stat line. They both have the elusive keyword. Zap has the tune. This basically reduces the cost of the drawn card by 1. Yeah, it's not as good as a tune, but you can make some synergy with that. Evil K, Evil Twin, whatever her name is, the 4 mana 4/4 that clones a card. Basically, clone cards are really like cost reduction, you know, because you copy exact cost, usually with those kind of clone cards. And then the predict is nice too. Now, is this overall better than Zap? No. Generally, I think this card is better than Zap, but I don't think overall in every single scenario this card is better than Zap. For example, if you're trying to get very specific cards, like small spells, like Make It Rain, Noxian Fervor, etc., I like Zap a little bit more. If you're not really trying to get those like very specific cards, you just want value, Augmented Clockling's great. Also, there's a little bit of predict synergy. You know, you got Echo, Zillion, of course, making the time bombs 1 mana and cloning the time bombs. Predict works great with Shell Folk too, PNZ Bandle Shell Folk, so there's a lot of deck building potential here. I really, really like this card. Big fan of this card. Can't wait to play it. Especially with rotation coming up. Theoretically, rotations usually mean slower formats, especially with how high power the format is currently. The game will most likely slow down, and this is a card that loves a slower format. Anyway, our next card. What do we got? Secret Keeper. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Initial impression, I don't think this guy is good. He's fun, but I don't think he's good. What's he actually do though? 3 mana 2/4. When I'm summoned, create at the bottom of your deck 2 random level 2 champs that aren't in your hand, deck, or play. So basically the Howling Abyss text. Is the card playable? I'm not gonna lie and try and be like, yeah, this card's really good. No, this card is not. This card is basically a meme in my opinion, but is it possible that it's not completely a meme, and is there something we can do? First off, the cards are going to the bottom, so you're gonna have to get them out of the bottom somehow. Predict. Shurima has predicts. Rite of Calling is one way. The Shurima Allegiance card as well. I've had some people say this to me. You play Secret Keeper, and that helps activate Priestess of Desert Light, the 6 mana 4/4 that when the round starts, she deals 4 to herself and draws a champion. Or if your deck has started with 6 different champions, summon it instead. Now that's the problem. I believe that's her text. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure Priestess of Desert Light says her ability only goes off if your deck started with 6 different champions. I could honestly look this up. In fact, I'm going to look that up now. In fact, very professional stream right here. Priestess of Desert Light. All right, Priestess of Desert Light, 6 mana 4/4, round start, deal 4 to me, draw a champion, or if your deck started with 6 plus different champions, summon it instead. So a lot of people have been talking about this card with Priestess of Desert Light. With the way Priestess of Desert Light is worded, this does not activate This will not help activate Priestess of Desert Light. So, I've also heard some people say this is hinting at Malzahar a little bit, which, who knows, maybe, could be. Only time will tell. But yeah, I don't know. I think this card is too much of a meme to see competitive play. I do like the stat line. 2/4 stat line, pretty solid. If this was just a 3/4, like a Badger Bear, I'd actually consider just playing this card by itself as just a 3-mana 3/4. Now, the issue is, Shurima has a pretty good 3-drop. I can't remember the name of the guy off the top of my head. The 3-mana 3/3 landmark guy. When he dies, he creates the landmark that when that landmark gets destroyed, you get the 5/3 Fearsome. That's a pretty good 3-drop, even in non-landmark decks. But yeah, I don't know. I think the guy is okay, but I'm just not sure what kind of deck wants this ability. Maybe some kind of like very weird Howling Abyss champion deck with Nasus's champ spell, whose name I can't remember. And you make really big champs. Maybe you play like Action and use his spell from his landmark to give your champion spell shield or something. I don't know. Like, Shurima has this weird, like, very champion-centric theme going on, but I think this is just a little too memey. But I do like the design. Very big fan of the card. Just a little too memey for to seriously consider playing it. Now the next guy. I'm gonna be honest with you, I think this guy is kind of trash. Fallen Sands General. 7 mana 0/7, Overwhelm. Okay. Big keyword on a weird stat line. What's he actually do though? He has +1/+0 for each ephemeral ally you've summoned this game. Okay. So besides the name and the artwork, if you couldn't tell already, Sand Soldiers. So Azir. Now here's the thing. I believe it has been confirmed 100% that Irelia is getting rotated. So is this guy trying to be like the top end for some new kind of Azir deck? Maybe like Azir Misfortune? I'm going to be honest with you. I think with just Azir and just Sand Soldiers, that's not enough ephemerals. I would like more ephemerals. So what other region? Shadow Isles? But I feel like that kind of sucks. Like Azir Hecarim was kind of like a tier 2 deck for a while back when Shurima was at its peak and Azir was just considered a menace. But even then it wasn't considered that great. So I don't know. I think it's just too slow. Again, hard to evaluate this guy. Current game, this guy would be awful. Way too slow. A 7-drop that doesn't do anything at all when you summon him. Most likely unplayable. Even though you could say like, oh, well, if he attacks, yeah, even if he attacks, you can stun him, silence him, freeze him, etc., etc. So, yeah, like look at most 7-mana units or higher that are seeing even a decent amount of play. They all do at least something right away and are pretty good, especially when they attack. Prime example, I guess, would be Albus Ferris for now. I will say this. Really love the artwork. Some of the best artwork I've seen recently, and in all honesty, that's quite a feat because LOR has always had good artwork. Ignore Rise's level up animation, though. Next up, what do we got here? A couple more cards. First off, very simple card. Carved Blade Twirler. 2 mana, 1/3, quick attack, augment. Vandal City card. Also a Fate card. The card's kind of meh. It's obviously a reference to Fey Blade Twirler. The flavor text even has Fey Blade Twirler talking here. What deck wants this? That's the real question. Like Victor? Like I don't know, like maybe some kind of shell folk deck? I don't know, like I really feel like quick attack's always been more of a more aggressive keyword, so I kind of want to play this in a deck that wants to beat down. And I don't know what that deck is. That would definitely be playing enough created cards to activate Augment. I guess as long as I activate Augment once, I have a 2/3 quick attack. Would I play just a 2-mana 2/3 quick attack in my deck? Maybe, in all honesty, especially if there's Fey synergy. Like, that Fey tagline might make this playable if there's some upcoming Fey synergy, but yeah, I don't know about this card. Not much to talk about with it. It's just whatever. Next up, what do we got though? Last card. Okay, this card, I've seen a lot of people talking weirdly about this card. Pie Toss. 1 mana fast spell. Deal 1 to a unit, create a Perilous Pastry in hand. I've seen a lot of people say this card sucks. I don't know why they think it sucks. I think most people in general say this card is good, but I've seen some people who are like some high-level players, like high-ranked masters and even seasonal players, saying this card is not that good and is kind of trash. In fact, I think this card's great. Perilous Pastry, though, before I keep talking, is a 2 mana slow spell. Deal 1 to anything. Quick note, it's not fleeting. I'm so used to these cards just creating fleeting spells, these cards that create new spells, creating new fleeting spells. I just assumed it was a fleeting spell. The fact it's not a fleeting spell instantly made me evaluate this card a little bit higher. So, let me put it this way. What if your group shot drew a card? What if your group shot just didn't have that clause where it sometimes deals 2 damage instead of 1, but instead it gave you a card? Would you play it? Yes. Yes, I would. As a person who has played a lot of group shot, I would gladly play a group shot that guarantees me an extra card over the sometimes dealing an extra point of damage. Because a lot of decks I play group shot in, sometimes very rarely actually have 4+ units, so most of the time it's just 1 mana deal 1. If you can reasonably, considerably just get 4+ units on the board a lot of the time, yeah, maybe you'll still play group shot over this, but I just think this card's great. I look at this and I think Pokestick. Yeah, I can't go face. Pie Toss at least can't go face like Pokestick, but Pokestick is a 2 mana deal 1 draw card. This is a 1 mana deal 1 to a unit. Create a card. Yeah, I feel like the average card in your deck is better than a Perilous Pastry. But hey, if you're comparing this card to Pokestick, one of the best cards in Vandal City, if not the entire game, that's a pretty big sign to me this is a solid card. Also, I highly doubt, I'd be very surprised if Ezreal is still in the format post-rotation, but hey, it's a targeting spell. Ezreal likes spells that target. Also, Seraphine, cheap spell, does some extra damage. The Perilous Pastry being slow does kind of suck, of course, but hey, I love this card. I think this card is great. Always love seeing some good, strong removal. And that's it. Those are all the cards. Again, not many. So yeah, no new champions, not really any new mechanics. But yeah, pretty solid cards. We've got like a PNZ Zap Sprayfin, really cute, funny meme card in the form of Secret Keeper, and a solid piece of small removal in the form of Pie Toss, which might be hinting at a Pokestick or Group Shot might be getting rotated. Who knows? And yeah, and Flash Bomb support too in the form of Flash Bomb Peddler, and I don't know, Azir support in the form of Fallen Sands General. I don't know what Carved Blade Driller is trying to do. If you know what he's trying to do, I'd love for you to tell me like what you think Carved Blade Driller, what kind of deck that guy is trying to go in. And I'd love to hear your opinion on these cards anyway. Do you think Pie Toss, do you agree? Do you think Pie Toss is a good card? Do you agree with those few people I've seen who actually say it's a little overrated? I don't think so. As for the rest of the cards, do you think I'm being a little too harsh on like Fallen Sands General? Do you see a meme I'm missing with Secret Keeper? Maybe something outside of like Teemo Caitlyn for Flash Bomb Peddler? Do you think I'm overrating Augment and Clockling? I would love to hear your opinion on these cards, chat. And if you guys just enjoy the video in general, I'd love it if you could leave a like or a comment down below. Always helps me and always helps out the channel. And if you guys want to keep up with the Legends of Runeterra content, you can always go and subscribe to the channel as well. Also, if you want to watch me play some Legends of Runeterra, you can go and check me out over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Senaton, where I stream pretty much every single day. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, thank you all again once more for watching this video, and until I see you guys in the next one, bye.